Hey, what's going on? YouTube Aura Storm here with another deck profile for you guys today. Apologize for the stream-related issues this afternoon. I know I had some stream-related issues today. I think it's on Twitch's side, considering both the Fallout 4 stream on the PS4 and the stream over here weren't working. I think it's on Twitch's side. Nevertheless, apologize for that. But anyway, I'm going to get to the deck profile for today for you guys. This is a deck known as I call Phantom Roids. Phantom Knights are a new archetype featured in Wing Raiders, which I believe comes out, I think, in February. It's a new set, and it's an XYZ set, similar to High Speed Riders, where it's like basically like a completely XYZ heavy set. It's going to include some of the new Raid Raptor support we've been waiting on for quite some time. Cards like Force Tricks and Tribute Lanius will be in the set, as well as some new Raid Raptor support like Satellite Cannon Falcon, and some of their new rank up cards will be in the set, and it will also introduce Phantom Knights. Phantom Knights are an archetype used by Yugioh in the anime. If you haven't watched the anime, there's a lot of Yugioh-related clones, basically, or for the main character, there are characters just like him that use different summoning mechanics, and this one is the Exceed user. The ironic thing is that the Synchro version of him uses Speedroids, and they actually work really efficiently with the deck. It mostly makes rank 3s, but it obviously Yugioh's signature monster is Dark Rebellion Exceed Dragon, and you can go into that as well. So with that out of the way, let's go and get to deck profiles. First off, 2 of Phantom Knights of Crackhelm. This one's effect is if a Phantom Knight card or a Phantom spell and trap is sent to your graveyard, it gains 500 attack. So it becomes a 2k beat stick fairly easily. And it's all the Phantom Knights have an effect when they're banished. When it's banished from the graveyard, it can add a Phantom Knights or a Phantom spell or trap card from your graveyard to your hand during the end phase. So all the Phantom Knight cards have effects when they're banished, so it works pretty effectively. Then 2 copies of Phantom Knights of Fragile Armor. Fragile Armor is basically like a Bujin Mikazuki. Whenever one of your Phantom Knight monsters is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can special summon it from hand, and you can banish it. In the graveyard effects, you can banish it, then send a Phantom spell or trap from your hand to the graveyard to draw 1 card. Which is really good because all these Phantom cards have effects while used in the graveyard. It also helps you to go into Wrong Nimidiad fairly easily. Like if you use your Break Swords effect to destroy itself, and then special this, then normal this, you can easily get a 4 material Wrong Nimidiad, which is really nice. And then 3 copies of Dusty Robe. Dusty Robe's monster effect isn't that great. It can pump up your monsters by 800 until the end of the opponent's turn by switching itself to defense mode. But its main effect is when it's banished from the graveyard, it can add any Phantom Knight card except itself from the deck to your hand. So it's basically like your Stratos. 3 copies of Rugged Glove. Rugged Glove's a really good card because when you use it to Exceed summon a Dark Attribute Exceed monster, it gains 1,000 attacks. Your Break Swords will become 3k, your Alucard will become 28, and if you bring it back with Break Sword and then overlay into Dark Rebellion will go up to 35 without even using his effect, which is amazing. And its banish effect adds a Phantom Knight spell or trap. It can send a Phantom Knight spell or trap from your deck graveyard to your graveyard. And all these Phantom spells or traps, these guys actually can special summon a Phantom Knight monster from your graveyard when they're banished. And then the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. This sort of has a Blackwing type effect. When you control a Phantom Knight monster, you can special summon it from your hand, but you can only do it once per turn that way. And then you can add a Phantom Knight by banishing it. So it allows you to go into your XYZ a little more comfortably. Now for the small Speedroid engine, 3 copies of Terror Top. Terror Top can be special summoned from your hand when you control no monsters. It's and then when it's normal special summon, you can add 1 Speedroid monster except itself. It's really nice. Then 2 copies of Tekken Tomborg. Tekken Tomborg is sort of like a lone fire for your tuner monster, which is Triad Dice. The fact that it can be special summoned from hand also means you can efficiently go into Trishula and Mistworm a lot easier. Then, of course, 2 copies of Triad Dice. Dice is really nice because not only is it a level 3 tuner monster, but it's also a Necrogardna. I feel like if I'm playing any kind of mill deck, I'm probably cutting my I'd be cutting any Necrogardnas and playing this instead because it's a tuner. I mean, Necrogardna, you never really are going to ban it. I feel like this card is a lot better than Necrogardna simply because it's a tuner. Now for the spells, 1 copy of Rhoda. Rhoda's at 1, but we have a ton of warriors, so we still want 1 copy. One copy of Regaki because it's a staple. Two copies of MST. I'm kind of iffy about MST going forward, but I do like the card better than Twin Twister. Simply because even in this deck, like you don't want to be pitching everything. And then one copy of Shock Surprise. More than that gets cloggy when you don't have that many Speedroid monsters. Then 3 copies of Speed Recovery. I'm thinking about maybe bumping this down to 2 because it's a really good card with Terror Top, and it allows you to go into your big synchro plays, but I'm kind of iffy about 3, but for now it's in here at 3. 2 copies of Phantom Sword. Phantom Sword's effect is that it's a continuous trap card that it can target one monster in the field and it'll gain 800 attack, and if it would be destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can destroy it instead. And it destroys itself when that monster leaves the field, and you can banish it to target one Phantom Knight monster in your graveyard to special summon it. But it's banished when it leaves the field. Most of the time, you're going to bring back your level 3s and overlay with them anyways, so it doesn't matter. Then 2 copies of Phantom Knights of Shadow Veil. The main reason I really like this card is that it protects you from direct attacks, and it's also not counted as a trap, which is really cool. The fact that it's level 4 means you can go into Dark Rebellion with it, which is really nice. 3 copies of Phantom Fogblade. This card is really good. It's basically like a Fiendish Chain that's searchable in the deck, and when you target one face-up effect monster, its effects are negated, it cannot attack, and it cannot be targeted for attacks. It's not really an issue. You can just pop the monster with Broken Swords effect, and then pop this. And then 2 copies of Booby Trap E. This is a little interesting card in the set. That could be, I think, the power card in the set. So you can discard one card, then set one's continuous trap card from your hand or graveyard, and it can be activated this turn. So obviously this allows you to reuse continuous trap cards such as Vanity's Emptiness, Skill Drain, continuous traps that are currently placed at 1 in the TCG. It's certainly not a bad card, definitely to maybe run in decks where you want to reuse your floodgates. It's a really nice card, I feel like, for other decks, but it's really good in this one because you reuse your Fog Blades. Then 3, and I like the fact that it doesn't have any effect like Dianea, where Traptrix Dianea, where it banishes the card if it's not used within a certain period of time. And lastly, 3 copies of Solemn Notice. Notice is just a stupid good card. I feel like when it comes out in Breakers of Shadow, it's going to be an easy, 3-of staple in just about every deck. I feel like for the cost of 1,500 life, I feel like it's way too few for what it does, but we have to live with it. And now we're getting to the extra decks. So the first synchro monster, 1 copy of High Speed Run Kendama. It's the synchro you can go into if you do decide to use Takenborg's effect to grab a Triad Dice from your graveyard, from your deck. It's really good, and I like the fact that it does piercing and it also floats a little bit. If you control other cards, you can special summon it back. And then 1 copy of No Thung. You can't really go consistently into Cowboy into this deck, but that's kind of where No Thung comes in. The fact that it's attack reduction and it doesn't target is kind of a bonus. 1 copy of Vulcan Define. The reason I like Vulcan in this deck is because you run so much continuous back row that you can just bounce it back and reuse it, which is really nice. Then, of course, it wouldn't be a deck like this without Trishula. Trishula is really, really easy to go into with this deck. It's not even funny. And same goes for Mistworm. Now, Mistworm happens to be a wind attribute, which means if you use Takentomborg's effect to bring out Triad Dice, you can still go into Mistworm. And Mistworm is still a really potent card if your opponent has a bunch of extra monsters summoned from the extra deck. Just target 3 of them and bounce them right back to the extra deck. Now for the XYZs, 3 copies of the archetype's main boss monster, which is the Phantom Knights of Breaksword. It's a generic XYZ, which is really good because first effect is that it's a generic scrap dragon. You target 1 card on each side of the field and destroy them. It can also target itself, which is kind of interesting. And then, sorry, I read something. And then when it brings the monsters back from the graveyard, it brings them back as a higher level, so you can instantly go into Rebellion or Wrong Dominiad. Then 1 copy of Dante. Dante is actually pretty decent in this deck because a lot of your Phantom Knights work from the graveyard. I don't go advise going into it all the time, but every once in a while, early game milling a few cards is not necessarily a neg. 1 copy of Alucard because not only is it pop sets, but it also goes to 28 with Rugged Gloves effect. 2 Leviers because we're banishing a lot of cards in our deck. And then the last 3 is 3 rank 4s, 2 copies of Dark Rebellion, Exceed Dragon. You can get away with 1, but I kind of like having the second one just in case. And then 1 Wrong Dominiad. Now I'm going to explain this card a bit. Now, it's not the most consistent thing to make it with 4 materials, but if you can make it, you might as well go ahead and run it. Because when you say you have these 2 guys in your hand and a Breaksword on the field, you basically target Breaksword with his effect, destroy him, special summon your Fragile Armor, then normal summon your Crack Helm, and you're good to go. and you can go straight into a 4 material Rong the Mini ad, which is really scary for your opponent because they can't, they're locked out of summoning monsters for a turn. As far as other cards that I've seen tacked into the deck, let me escape from the. This is actually a card I really have tested. I really like in the deck. Escape from the Dark Dimension. It basically sort of like if having an extra copy of Leviair as your trap card. You can bring back your banished Phantom Knight monsters, then overlay with them, which is really nice. It works really well. I mean, if you're gonna run Dark Dimension, I feel like you can also get away with running a couple copies of Magic Planner. Magic Planner actually works really well in this deck because of Booby Trap E, because you can reuse your trap card, flip it up, planner it away. It actually works really well with a mini Magic Planner engine. So anyway, guys, as always, I'd like to thank you guys for watching the video today. Really appreciate it when you guys watch my videos. Tune in on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays for more Yu-Gi-Oh content. And if you like what you saw from this video, please subscribe. Storm signing out.